Hold up, what you're about to hear is going to blow your mind. The story of YNW Melly is way darker than you might think. But here's the twist. Things are not as simple as they seem, and it doesn't end where you probably think it does. Stick with me because what happens next will completely change everything you thought you knew. Let's dig into the truth together. So, recently, prosecutors put forward some new evidence to a judge, hoping to keep YNW Melly behind bars. This came after it was revealed that Melly was very close with King Von before Von's tragic death and Melly's arrest. In an interview with an O-Block member, a shocking secret was uncovered. Melly had shared something with him that gives us new insight into what was really going on. Apparently, King Von was the one Melly turned to for advice on how to handle a tricky situation. When your two closest friends are going after your money, the truth is deeper than we thought. What do you make of this? Is there more to the story than just a tragic crime, or is something else going on behind the scenes? Let me know what you think in the comments.
I really tell you that Melly told him that he's two friends?
He ain't come out and say, like, we got it to.
YNW Melly isn't just a rapper. He's also involved in a business, an LLC that he ran with his partner, Borland. They worked together, putting on local performances, selling merchandise, and promoting businesses. All the money they made went through their bank account and was divided among the 4 members of the YNW group. Melly and Borland kept a 25% split for themselves, with Sat Chaser and Lion getting their share. But things weren't always smooth between them. Juvie, one of the other members, thought Melly and Lion were more interested in taking advice from King Von than in splitting the money equally. But after the tragic events, Melly's actions raised a lot of eyebrows. He's now facing a life sentence, not just for the deaths, but also for trying to cover up the crime. Melly and Borland were both arrested for witness tampering, which made everything look even worse. This twist in the story has everyone questioning what really happened, and the truth may be more shocking than we realize. The case is far from over, and people are watching closely to see what comes next. What do you think about everything that's been happening? Drop your thoughts in the comments. The drama surrounding YNW Melly is far from over, and things are getting even more intense. New charges have been added to his case, and it's all starting to look even more serious. Along with his friends, Sat Chaser and YNW Juvie, Melly now faces 6 new charges. These charges include things like tampering with a witness and conspiracy to hide the truth. Some of these charges are so serious that they could land Melly in prison for lifing. What's even more shocking, Melly has allegedly been trying to stop his ex-girlfriend from testifying against him. He's been reaching out from his jail cell using code words to pressure her. This wasn't just hearsay either. YNW Juvie's dad spoke out, confirming that Melly was involved in these shady actions. It's clear that Melly is trying everything he can to avoid facing the consequences for what's happening, but as more details come out, it's getting harder for him to escape the truth. What do you think will happen next? Will Melly be able to get away with this, or is justice finally catching up to him? Drop your thoughts below. This story is far from over, and we want to hear what you think.
Are now charged with witness tampering. It sounds like the prosecutors are saying there was this kind of crazy way that
the story surrounding YNW Melly is getting even more intense, and the latest updates are raising a lot of eyebrows. Court records have revealed some shocking details about his time in prison, explaining why he's been treated so harshly. In an emotional interview, Melly's mom, Jamie King, shared how her son was denied basic rights like using a phone and getting his mail. For many, this was a huge shock because even prisoners with serious charges are usually allowed to make calls and receive letters. But in Melly's case, his mail was being held back and he couldn't communicate with anyone. The big question is, why? It turns out there might be a bigger reason behind this treatment. Authorities suspect Melly might have been using his phone to pressure people into not testifying against him. If that's true, it would explain why they stopped him from making calls. But here's the catch. They can't just block his phone for no reason. They would need solid evidence of him tampering with witnesses to take such action. Jamie, feeling completely powerless and heartbroken, expressed how devastated she is by the whole situation. She knows her son is being treated unfairly, but there's not much she can do about it. Now, with all this new information coming out, it leaves us wondering, what's really going on here? Do you think this will affect Melly's case or change anything for him? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We want to hear from you.
Melly's statement, just saying how he's been hurt, how he's scared for his life. As a mother, how did that make you feel?
The whole situation with YNW Melly in jail has sparked a lot of reactions from the public and media. Charleston White, for example, didn't hold back. He made it clear that since Melly is accused of a serious crime, he shouldn't expect any special treatment just because he's a rapper. Charleston said, "When you take a life, you don't get the right to complain about anything, especially not about being mistreated. His words really struck a nerve, especially considering the nature of the charges against Melly. And there's another side to this. People have been paying attention to how much stress Melly's mom, Jamie King, has been under during this entire ordeal. It's clear that this situation is taking a toll on her. She's been in the spotlight trying to support her son while dealing with all the stress that comes with the accusations. Some even say she's been under so much pressure that it's hard for her to cope. So what's your take? Do you think Melly's getting what he deserves, or is it too harsh? And what about his mom? How do you feel about her being caught in the middle of all this? Share your thoughts in the comments. We want to hear from you. YNW Melly's trial is back in the spotlight this week, but the reactions are starting to calm down. Let's break down what's going on, because this is a roller coaster. When Melly first showed up in court, you could really feel the emotions. He had a shaved head and looked like the weight of everything was getting to him. You could see he was nervous and stressed out, especially when they started talking about his future. But then, things took an unexpected turn. The judge started talking about the possibility of Melly being released from custody, and suddenly, the courtroom was paying attention. What really caught everyone off guard, though, was when Melly was told he needed to make a major decision, choosing who his lawyers would be. After spending over 2,000 days in jail, this was a huge moment for him. And when we asked him about the decision, he told us it wasn't the time to get married. He told us. The judge asked Melly how much time he needed to decide, saying he could take at least one more day. Even though the sheriff's office controls how long the investigation goes, this was Melly's moment to make a choice that could change everything for him. Imagine being in Melly's shoes. Over 2,000 days in jail, and now you have to choose your legal team to fight for your future. The pressure is real. What do you think about Melly's situation? After all this time, do you think he deserves a chance at release, or should he stay in jail until the trial is over? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk about it. The YNW Melly case just keeps getting crazier, and it looks like new evidence is about to shake things up even more. The defense is expected to present something big maybe as soon as tomorrow or when Melly is out on bond. This evidence is coming straight from his phone, and it's pretty shocking. Hours after the crime, Melly allegedly sent a text that almost admits to what happened. When someone checked if he was okay, his reply was, "I did that," with a smiley face emoji attached. In another message, he said, "What after that?" followed by, "Shh." But wait, there's more. A video was also found on his phone, taken just 6 hours after the incident. In the video, Melly and his co-defendant, YNW Borland, talk about the situation in a surprisingly calm way, even though it's clear they're talking about something serious. Melly says, "Still turn regardless of what happened," and seems oddly unfazed by the gravity of the situation. Then came an even more jaw-dropping find. Federal agents raided Borland's house and discovered a piece of paper with descriptions of jurors from Melly's first trial. It looks like Borland might have been writing down details about the jurors, which is a huge red flag for possible jury tampering. With all this new evidence coming to light, things are getting really intense. Do you think this will change the direction of the trial? Or do you think there's even more to the story than we realize? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear what you think.
She real, bro. You know she real.
She's stressed out. I heard she had a...
Yeah, she real, and I reached my hand.
The drama surrounding YNW Melly's case just keeps getting crazier, and it seems like things are only heating up. So let's break this down for you. YNW Melly's trial has been a roller coaster. Jury selection started back in mid-April, and by July 22nd, a judge declared a mistrial. But hold on, it gets even wilder. On the same day, a warrant came out accusing YNW Borland of trying to mess with a witness. That's not something you want to mess around with, especially in a high-profile case like this. Now here's where things really get serious. Jurors are supposed to stay hidden and protected throughout a trial. You don't want anyone knowing who they are or anything about them. But somehow, YNW Borland ended up with a notebook containing information about the jurors. That's a huge violation, and it didn't look good for either Melly or Borland. Even DJ Academics couldn't believe it. He was shocked, saying, "How are you gonna have the juror's notebook in your house? That's just wild. It's like having surveillance footage on a DVD player or something." It's clear that this is a big mistake, and now people are wondering how this will affect the case. What do you think about all this? Do you think Melly and Borland really messed up? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We want to hear from you. The story behind YNW Melly just keeps getting more intense. Picture this. The police raided his home and found something so shocking that even DJ Academics couldn't believe it. He was like, "How do you have something like this in your house?" He compared it to having surveillance footage in your DVD player. It's just not something you expect to see. This discovery caused the judge to really think twice about whether or not Melly should be released from custody. But here's where it gets interesting. Melly's defense team came prepared. They revealed some text messages from his ex-girlfriend. These texts showed that she was worried about Melly while all this was happening. She was trying to figure out if he was okay as he was running and hiding from a car that was chasing him. In the messages, Melly told her that the car was right behind him and he was trying to hide. His ex kept asking where his friends were and he wasn't sure but thought they might be in the car. The prosecutors also confirmed that people from a rival group were in that car chasing Melly. So what do you think? Is Melly really guilty or is there something else going on here? Let's talk about it in the comments. This story is far from over. The case against YNW Melly is looking more intense every day, and there are some shocking twists. Even though some new evidence suggested it could have been a drive-by shooting, that wasn't enough to change the course of things. One important piece of evidence was a handprint found, but it still didn't prove Melly's innocence. Troll experts disagree on differences. Some say it wasn't Melly and the results were actually legitimate. Some say that they were actually guilty of murder and that's why they were shot digitally first. Some say it was the same person who shot and dismembered the body. Yes, the results are very strong on the handprint found, but it still didn't prove Melly's innocence. Then his defense tried to argue that they couldn't replicate certain tests because they didn't know exactly what weapon was used. Unfortunately for Melly, that argument didn't hold up in court. Prosecutors came in with all the details, breaking down the crime step by step. Sergeant Williams used a method called the stick technique, placing plastic sticks inside the vehicle to map out where the bullets hit. Every detail matched. Every hole, every bullet's path, and even the number of shots fired outside the car. They showed that some shots definitely came from inside the car. Investigators also explained how the shots from the backseat couldn't have come from outside. All of this made it clear what happened, and it made it harder for the defense to challenge the evidence. The trial is far from over, but it's getting more serious. What do you think will happen next? Will Melly get another chance? Or will this be the turning point in his case? Let me know your thoughts on how things are playing out. The courtroom became more intense as Sergeant Williams took the stand, explaining that this was not a drive-by shooting. He presented key evidence, showing that most of the shots were fired while the vehicle was stationary. Only one shot had some movement, which made it clear that this wasn't a random drive-by, but something planned or targeted. Then, a shocking moment happened when YNW Melly's mother walked to the stand. She was asked about the people in the car during the incident. She pointed to the backseat and confirmed that her son, Christopher Thomas, got in on the right side. But the real moment of truth came when the jury asked her about the person in the backseat on the left side. "Is that Jamal?" they asked, referring to the defendant. Without hesitation, she said, "Yes, that's Jamal." This testimony hit hard as it directly linked YNW Melly to the scene of the crime. This was a key moment in the trial, especially with someone so close to the case confirming his involvement. The stakes have never been higher, and with each new piece of testimony, it's becoming harder to ignore the weight of the evidence. What do you think this means for the trial's outcome? Things are heating up, and it's all coming down to these final moments. GW collections, the next county over, is at 64.5% according to GW collections. There is no more waiting for the evidence to come. It's gone. And if it comes again, it's gone forever. GW collections is the next great start to the case through a digital space.